Hey, your viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Stratus. Welcome back to Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, episode 57. We're back here, of course, with Danganronpa If, the third episode now of this little light novel type thing. We're going to continue on. So, remember in the last episode, of course, Mukuro's cover got completely blown. Makoto is now injured, quite badly, we do think, and, well, basically all shit is hitting the fan, pretty much. Let's just continue on from where we were. With Makoto on her back, Mukuro took several trophies from the gym entrance hall, and after passing through the door leading to the hallway, she jammed the trophies through the door handles. Though Sakura could easily destroy these makeshift locks, they should buy Mukuro a few extra seconds. Then Mukuro started running to the nurse's office, the place she last spoke to Makoto. Everything necessary for performing first aid could be found there. Her little sister was her enemy. Her fellow Ultimate students were her enemy. Her only ally right now was Makoto, who was on the verge of death. Mukuro knew that even she wasn't her own ally right now. Amidst all this chaos, amidst her sister's betrayal and nearly being killed, she believed. She believed she was the only one who truly understood her little sister. That's why she felt like she had to protect her. That's right. Oh wait, is this Mukuro speaking? What was the voice I gave Mukuro again? Or was I just talking normally? Good lord, it's been a while since my last recording session. I've forgotten what voice I gave her. Maybe I'll just talk normally for now. That's right, you didn't do anything wrong, Junko. Well, I mean, I don't know about that, but you just wanted to feel despair, that's all, right? Because you love me. That's why you wanted to kill me. You were just trying to feel despair, right? I mean, it is an odd way of looking at it, but sure. I'm sorry I failed to bring you despair. But at the same time, she wondered, if she saves Makoto and betrays her sister by disrupting her plan, wouldn't that fill her with an even stronger despair? Wouldn't that make her happy? But betray Junko? What should I do? Mukuro closed her eyes and listened to Makoto's weak breaths. What should I do, Makoto? On a battlefield where all you need to do is kill and survive, Mukuro was invincible. She could suppress all her emotions and fully immerse herself in becoming a perfect killing machine. But on this twisted battlefield of daily high school life, she could no longer keep her emotions in check, especially around her little sister. Mukuro, the ultimate soldier, was beginning to question being ultimate despair. The impulses of the normal high school girl inside her were starting to affect her state of mind. Even so, the poor girl continued to run through the dark hallways, clinging to this conflict within herself. She was now walking along a narrow, hair-thin path. A path between the hope of Makoto Naegi and the despair of Junko Enoshima. Okay. I see. Meanwhile, everyone still in the gym was left in a state of complete confusion. Toko was famous for being a prolific author, but even though she came across as unsocial and depressing, her mind-blowing transformation seemed to have just tossed all that aside. Right, who's talking here? Yes, revelations about... Okay, Sayaka. Toko is Genocide Jack. Sayaka trembled with fear as Jack tilted her head and stuck out a long tongue. What's up with this reception, you guys? You guys that didn't know who I was? Have I been found out? Or have you known all along? And why wasn't the sullen samurai just like that? That outfit didn't look good on her at all. The sullen samurai was probably referring to Mukuro, which means Toko already knew Mukuro in advance. Confronted by that shocking truth, the students had no idea where to begin talking. So many things were clearly wrong by this point. But there were a few students, such as Byaki and Kyoko, who opted to remain calm and observe the situation. Right, I don't know, there's a problem with the dialogue here, I don't know who's talking, so... Alright, someone better spill it. Who gave Makoto an extra mouth to feed? I don't care if you want to stab him or slice him. I just can't... There. Oh right, this is still Genocide Jack. Alright, someone better spill it. Who gave Makoto an extra mouth to feed? I don't care if you want to stab him or slice him. I just can't forgive whoever put that ugly asshole in Big Mac's aside. Toko, no, Genocide Jack, spun her scissors in her hands. As she spoke, her emotions and facial expressions constantly changed. Even without the threat of her scissors, she exuded an aura of danger that made her unapproachable. The flankstead of a younger boy like Macaroons is like a bluebird that pops out of a golden egg. If you would have just let me handle it, I would have killed him so good that even Tiltil and Miltil, I feel like there's a reference there to something I'm not aware of, would be eager to die. but poor Makuti's heart and soul have been stomped on by such a sloppy kill. That actually sounds a pretty exciting tour, but I decline. Toko, you're not making any sense, screamed Aoi. What in the world happened to you? Genocide Jack answered by pointing her scissors at Aoi. What happened to me? I got bored, that's what. That sour person locked me up a few days ago, but when she went unconscious I thought I'd finally get to do my thing. But I woke up for all of this. My cutie soaked with blood and I've got no clue what's going on. It's so damn confusing. All I can do is laugh. Hey! Oh, right, there, she does laugh. There you go. No one seemed to be able to get a straight answer out of Jack, so Hifumi made a timid remark. I dealt with ghosts like this in my 2D dating games, but this doesn't even compare. It's like there's an SSS difficulty level to clear her. This is Leon. Well, I can't believe you'd even think about her as someone worth clearing, mumbled Leon. It was clear that things were going nowhere, and as if she were responding to everyone else's expectations, Sakura stepped forward. She might be in the throes of confusion. I should try to restrain her for now. As soon as she heard that, Genocide Jack stopped moving, stuck out her lizard-like tongue and grinned wickedly. Oh, what's up? Are you really gonna fight me, Battle Ogre? Too bad my lovely scissors are only for cutting through adorable boys. Women should have just to stay home. I want to taint my scissors with your filthy blood. Replied Sakura. It is my words are useless on you. Sakura entered a fighter's stance, determined to restrain Jack, but Jack knew she couldn't win in a fair fight and adopted a strange stance of her own. In a normal fight, Jack would obviously lose to the ogre, but if Jack focused just on dodging attacks, the outcome of the fight would be hard to foresee. Of course, Genocide Jack's physical abilities were only obvious to a few of the students in the first place. The two women exchanged hostile stares as the other students gulped nervously and watched. If only we had sprites, character sprites, to actually show this action rather than just being told about it. This riveting footage, except for one person. Kyoko was watching something else. She was watching Monokuma, who was in the corner of the gym, unmoving, as white noise emitted from his speakers. He had stopped moving the moment everyone's attention focused on Sakura and Toko. It's possible that Madurai's hacking had been disrupted, but an infinite number of other possibilities were also swirling around in Kyoko's mind. Madurai was the hacker, the name of the hacker, but is he real or is that actually just Junko? Assuming it's a he, if it is a separate person. I don't know, we'll find out. She brushed back her hair with a gloved hand and continued to watch. Though she couldn't fully remember her talent, the actions she was taking right now were fueled by pure instinct. The strange situations that kept occurring in front of her were shaking her to her very core. Her mind worked diligently to scoop up countless amounts of information from her vast sea of memories. And as they were synchronising with the synapses firing in her brain, wow, this is a very interesting way of describing it. I feel like the game needs a good graphic at this point to show this happening, not just this generic background of the gym. Sakura and Toko kicked off the ground at the same time, and an intense impact rang throughout the gym. Ah, okay. Thanks to the heated battle that was unfolding in the gymnasium, Mukuro Ikusaba was able to buy more time than she had imagined. As soon as she entered the nurse's office, she rummaged around for medical supplies and did what she could to stop the bleeding. Though still quite shallow, Makoto's breathing slowly stabilised. Mukuro let out a little sigh of relief. However, even though she was somehow able to stop the bleeding, she wasn't out of the woods just yet. Miraculously enough, it seemed like none of Makoto's major arteries or organs were damaged. Was this perhaps thanks to his ultimate luck? Or maybe he wasn't actually all that lucky. After all, the only sort of medical treatment he could hope for was partial at best. Mukuro couldn't decide. If only I could do a blood transfusion. The nurse's office should have had several blood packs for transfusions. Mukuro suspected that Makoto's blood type might be written in his e-handbook, but as she reached over to search his pockets... could this be Monokuma? Or Junko, maybe? I see you're reaching for a sleeping boy's clothes. What in the world is about to happen next? Adults can keep playing, but you kids better press the B button, okay? Yes. Any kids watching this, you better stop watching right now. It's gonna get heated. Okay, it's Monokuma who's saying this. Recognise the poo-hoo-hoo and all that. Mukuro turned toward that familiar voice and saw Monokuma standing before her. You're all alone with Makoto right now. Just think of me as a cute wild animal and let your lust lead the way. As the headmaster... Oh right. As the headmaster, I must prevent any illicit sexual relationships. Or physical education classes are just fine, missy. Though he looked just like the one that was at the gym, it was clearly a different Monokuma. Multiple Monokumas had been placed throughout the entire academy, so it wasn't a stretch for him to suddenly appear out of nowhere. Regardless, the same person was controlling all of them. Mukuro had been wary of Monokuma attacking her while she was treating Makoto's wounds, but his appearance at this particular moment seemed to take her by surprise. Junko? Asked Mukuro cautiously. Monokuma tilted his head along with his entire upper body, inquisitively. Junko? Who's that? Junko? I've never heard of that country before. No more jokes. Answer me, Junko. You were planning to kill me earlier, right? Junko this, Junko that. What's your problem? I'm telling you, I'm Monokuma. You must be a big disappointment if you can't even remember something like that. You're not just a disappointment as a person, you're a disappointment as a sister too. You're too skinny, and your brain is nothing but muscles, and your personality is just unbearable. I'm sorry, said Mukuro. She didn't need to apologise, but hearing her little sister call her a disappointment yet again was enough to make the ultimate soldier recoil. Monokuma ignored her and her current situation, climbed on top of Makoto's barely breathing body and began poking at his cheeks. So what are you going to do with Makoto now? I'm really interested in human mating habits, you know. What are you... asked Mukuro before trailing off. Monokuma lowered his tone and began whispering into her ear. Makoto's a pretty nice guy, huh? He even sacrificed himself to save you. He's so generous that it's actually hopeless. Pooh. He's not... Oh wait, that's Mukuro. He's not dead yet, insisted Mukuro. Despite her firm tone, she couldn't hide the fear lingering in her voice. Pooh. That's the most disappointing thing about you. You can't even say I won't let him die. I won't let him die, Junko. Mukuro could barely get a word in as Monokuma erupted into pooh-hoo's and ah-ha-ha-has and continued to torment her. As if you could do that. Too bad. No regrets. See you tomorrow. Is this all because Makoto... Oh right, still him. Is this all because Makoto was the first person to smile at you? You, a disappointing, depressing, unladylike, inhuman killing machine. Despite denying that he was Junko, Monokuma began speaking at length about Mukuro's past. This contradiction was very much like Junko, and Mukuro was so shaken that all she could do was watch the bear prattle on and on. Only the fit survive in this world. The only thing that kind-hearted people can do is die, you know. As proof, you're going to watch Makoto die really soon. Pooh. He won't die. Mukuro's tone of voice had become irregular ever since she took off her Junko wig. Aside from her conversation with Makoto, everything she said as Junko was from a script that her sister had written. Second, I was misreading that. But now there was no script for Mukuro to rely on anymore. Mukuro was treating Monokuma like she would treat her own sister. If the other students saw her acting so weak, they'd never believe she was the same person who fought Sakura in the gym. And not just that, if anyone from a mercenary past could see her now, her stark change in attitude might make them think she was someone else entirely. Monokuma continued to rail against Mukuro. Nope, he's gonna die. I know it's sad, but you just have to face the facts. Monokuma wriggled his limbs and danced around, then pointed right at Mukuro's face. Because Makoto is going to die by your hands. Huh? In fighting among the terrorists. The big bad terrorist silences the weak-willed Makoto before he can leak any information. Doesn't that happen all the time? In the end, all the desperate things you said in the gym turn out to be lies you told just to escape. Pooh! Mukuro frowned at Monokuma. You can't do that, Junko. I won't let you do that. As she blurted out those words in a trembling voice, Mukuro was gripped with confusion about what she had just said. Am I defying Junko right now? Why? It was a strange feeling. To Mukuro, it was like she was standing on the ledge of a tall building and imagining what would happen if she jumped. A destructive feeling, akin to holding a friend's baby and wondering what would happen if you tripped and fell. Before she knew it, fear and anxiety had suddenly taken control of Mukuro's heart. As a member of Fenrir, and as ultimate despair, Mukuro killed innumerable people. She had handled live grenades before. She had descended from the sky in a parachute as anti-aircraft weaponry fired all around her. Her heart never wavered on the battlefield, but now it felt like it could collapse any second. Monokuma, however, was as stable as a tree, and slightly tilted his head to the side. Huh? Weren't you listening to my story? I'm not the one who's going to kill Makoto, you are. What are you... Oh, wait. That was Monokuma speaking. I'm not the one who's going to kill Makoto, you are! What are you saying, Junko? Monokuma began giving a strange explanation to a very confused Mukuro. Do you know what the suspension bridge effect really means? It means you push the person you love off a bridge, and they'll be yours for eternity. I haven't heard that at all. Life doesn't always follow what your textbooks say. It's sad, but that's what love is. His words made no sense, and Mukuro couldn't think of anything to say, as she stood there dumbfounded. Meanwhile, Monokuma continued his little speech, intentionally saying things meant to antagonise Mukuro. Basically, this is your big chance, you know. If you kill Makoto right here and now, nobody will ever take him away from you again. Makoto Naegi, dead by dawn. The last name he ever spoke was Mukuro Ikusaba. The last person he ever smiled at was Mukuro Ikusaba. Doesn't that sound wonderful? There was a certain appeal to Monokuma's twisted suggestion, and Mukuro found herself unsure of her own judge. Oh god, bloody hell, I haven't even sipped my tea yet and I'm already getting gas coming up my throat. Own judgment. This is wrong, it has to be wrong. But it's really Junko saying all this, so doesn't that mean it's right? No, this isn't Junko, it's Monokuma. Monokuma, 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 Monokuma. And are you sure you want to help Makoto? Once he gets better, he's going to know everything. He'll know what you did to your classmates. I can't believe you would actually erase your friends' memories of their time together and force them to kill each other. Makoto might get mad at you and say, our real enemy isn't the bear, it's her. Do you really want him to blame you for this? Mukuro's face turned pale. Boo! Or are you going to kill the others? If everyone except you and Makoto dies, you'll be able to spend the rest of your school life together. We can't hold a class trial with only 2 people. It might be a good idea for you both to live the rest of your lives in this academy forever. No, that's wrong, And what are you going to do if his memories return? It's not like you were dating Makoto or anything. You were just watching him from afar the whole time. Man, you're so shy. You can shoot people's hearts and brains no problem, but you can't even woo some stupid boy into liking you. Do you want to know who Makoto had a crush on before his memories were taken away? Pooh-hoo-hoo-hoo. Mukuro trembled as Monokuma continued pressing the issue, gradually loosening the screws keeping her heart secure. So Mukuro chose to pretend she didn't hear anything at all. All emotion vanished from her face and she looked silently even from Makoto's e-handbook. If you're looking for his blood type, it's not written in the handbook. Mukuro's face turned pale. Within 5 seconds her plan to ignore Monokuma had already failed. But since your headmaster is made up of 50% kindness, I'll tell you anyway. Makoto's blood type is B! As soon as she heard him say that, all the anxiety, horror, hostility, malice and dread churning within Mukuro had completely vanished. Wow, Mukuro really is under the spell of her sister. Jeez. Thank you, Junko. Mukuro's eyes sparkled without a hint of suspicion, so she turned her back to Monokuma without a hint of suspicion, and walked toward the refrigerator containing the blood packs. Fresh blood packs should have been prepared before the plan took effect. They'll last in cold storage for 21 days. They should still be good. Despite her emotionless face, Mukuro let herself feel a small amount of satisfaction as she took a blood pack from the refrigerator. As Monokuma watched her, his normally emotionless eyes twitched ever so slightly. If a third party could see his face right now, or even if the other students could see his face right now, they'd wonder, is Monokuma surprised? That's right. They'd have the same shocked look on their faces if they were seeing Monokuma for the first time. At that moment a whisper crept out of Monokuma's emotionless face. There should be a limit to how disappointing you can be! It was far quieter than Mosquito's wings. Even with a battle-hardened hearing, Mukuro couldn't hear what he said. Monokuma shook his head and the voice returned to normal. It's not like I care that you, the ultimate despair, has hope in anything. It's not like I expected much from you to begin with, so this'll at least help me feel despair. But seriously, you disappoint me. Just so you know, despair and disappointment are completely different things, okay? They're as different as bears and pandas. What are you... Mukuro's body started to shake as she turned back to look at Monokuma. He hadn't started talking any differently than usual. Junko hadn't turned off the voice modulator and started talking in her real voice or anything. And yet, Mukuro was utterly terrified. She was terrified on instinct, not as a soldier. Half the reason she was terrified was because of her instincts as the ultimate despair, and the other half was because she was Junko's older sister. Even through Monokuma, her instincts were telling her that Junko was annoyed with her. Junko? Why are you annoyed? Is it because I betrayed you? Or is it because I didn't die like you wanted me to? Ugh, sulked Monokuma. I'm beyond annoyed. I'm really, really angry, and I'm really, really disappointed right now. I'm so pissed, I could take a rage nap right now. Monokuma's anger didn't seem any different from his usual anger toward the students, but Mukuro could instinctively sense another emotion mixed with it. Right now, she could feel that Junko was feeling hopeless disappointment. It's normal for someone who's disappointed to lose hope, but for the ultimate despair, disappointment means something else entirely. To them, disappointment was tantamount to losing despair itself. Mukuro was a member of Ultimate Despair. Yeah, I know, we know this. You said it multiple times, game. That's what I sometimes find with the writing in Danganronpa. Not so much the trigger-happy havoc, but I found it with this game. There's a lot of repetition of things. At her sister's behest, Mukuro had soiled her hands many times in order to fill the world with despair. Despite her pride toward being a member of Ultimate Despair, there was a clear difference between Mukuro and her sister. Junko Enoshima was despair incarnate. She was born in despair, letting it infect other people's hope, so it could rot them from the inside out, twisting them into her own image. For Junko, feeling hope was its own despair. Creating despair in others created despair in herself, which caused her to feel both intense pain and intense bliss. Junko had walked the fracture created from the conflict between pleasure and penance all her life. Eventually, the fracture would widen until it swallowed the world and tore it in half. But Mukuro, on the other hand, had neither hope nor despair for the world. At least, not when she was a member of Fenrir. Ever since she was a child, Mukuro believed she was meant to spread despair because of her sister. She didn't harbour any ill will toward the world. She simply accepted she was meant to spread despair and chose to walk the same path as her sister. The doubt she felt was only a recent development. When Junko told her about the plan, when she watched the world burn at the hands of terrorists wearing Monokuma masks, she never wavered once. However, as soon as she heard about her sister's plan to make their classmates kill each other, Makoto included, a strange feeling began to stir within her. What started as a seed of doubt soon grew into a thorny vine ensnaring Mukuro's feet. As soon as she disguised herself as Junko and finished meeting the other students, as soon as she had confirmed that everyone's memories had been completely taken away, that vine began tightening around Mukuro's heart. They're gone. Junko's the only one who knows about me now. That's it. But that's no problem. It's just like old times. Things will never go back to how they used to be, but that's fine. This should be fine. She had relinquished the past 2 years she had spent with her friends so she could betray them and deliver death and despair unto them. Though her heart ached, Mukuro was beyond feeling guilt or remorse for her actions. But the question, why does my heart ache like this, still remained unanswered. Perhaps that's why she spent so much time talking to Makoto when he was in the nurse's office. And when Makoto gave her that one particular answer, something changed inside her. In return, I promise that if I do decide to kill someone, it won't be you. The words Mukuro blurted out to Makoto weren't improvised to further her role as Junko. It was an honest sentiment from the bottom of her heart. She was even planning to ask Junko herself if Makoto could somehow be spared from her plan. Over the past 2 years, Mukuro's interests had been slowly shifting away from her sister and toward the world itself. By extension, her interests also included Makoto, the first person to ever smile at her and make her feel connected to the world. It was like a sapling of pure honesty that had taken root in Mukuro's heart. But by the time she realised that, the tree had already rotted. As Mukuro struggled to understand the situation, Monokuma let out a sigh and said, "I wonder which part of you is a wolf anyway. You're just a dog that blindly follows Junko's orders. What does the tattoo on your hand even mean? Are you just a bitch who's pledged her loyalty to her owner? I bet Toko would say that, I'm positive." Monokuma continued to talk, as Mukuro stood in confusion. "I was obviously lying when I said Makoto's blood type is B." "What?" cried Mukuro. "You lied? Junko?" "A normal person would have been suspicious. I never thought you'd actually believe me just now. I must have misplaced my eyes, because I totally did not see that coming. Not even with my ability to predict the future." "How shocking. Jeez, I'm about to start crying my eyes out like some sort of robot cat. Seriously. It's going to be okay, Junko, said Mukuro. I know our plan kind of fell apart, but I'm still on your side. Are you feeling alright? Because I'll do anything. Is this Monokuma? Snap! A harsh sound came from Monokuma's mouth. That sound was one of my circuits overloading. It's been so long since I felt this angry. Meet me on the roof of the school. I'll smash out all your baby teeth. Monokuma started shadow boxing in front of Mukuro, who remained frozen in place, clutching a blood pack in her hand. She still looked confused, and Monokuma threw up his arms in frustration. You're so disappointing, I can't even predict it anymore. Roar! A threatening roar burst out from Monokuma's mouth as he leapt at Mukuro with his sharp claws extended. At that moment, her face became completely emotionless. It was not a conscious action. The defensive instinct she honed during her time with Fenrir temporarily suppressed her emotions as she countered Monokuma's attack. Mukuro grabbed a nearby IV stand and used it to parry Monokuma's claws. However, Monokuma's claws seemed to be made with a special alloy and easily sliced the bar in half diagonally. But instead of following up his attack, Monokuma continued talking to Mukuro. I guess you're not much of a disappointment when it comes to fighting. In fact, if you were so pathetic that you died from that single attack, that would have been interesting in its own way. But right now, you're just incompetent at everything. I'm sorry, said Mukuro. I couldn't help blocking your attack, but there's no way I can fight you, Junko. After all, I'm all you have. I'm the only one who understands you at all. Mukuro's words were riddled with endless dismay. The contrast between her usual stoic self and the way she was acting now was so stark, people might assume she had multiple personalities. However, Monokuma just quietly stared at her. He was perfectly still, as if all his functions had powered down completely. But Mukuro continued to share her feelings. There's no way I can just leave you alone. And then Monokuma broke his silence, but at that moment a monitor in the nurse's office lit up, displaying a girl's face, Junko Enoshima. At the same time, a voice completely unlike Monokuma's began to play from the speakers. Okay, this is the proper Junko, so this is going to be the voice that, yeah. Hey, Mukuro! Junko! It had been several days since Mukuro had heard her sister's real voice. Though her face remained motionless, excitement sparkled in her eyes. However, that shine immediately dulled. I'm grateful to you, Mukuro, I mean it. Junko's voice emanating from the speakers sounded very gentle and kind. Junko? I'm really sorry. I said so many mean things to you. I even tried to kill you earlier, and I was about to make you do something horrible just now. Even though I know about your feelings towards Makoto. You don't have to force yourself. Even if you didn't notice, it was totally obvious for anyone looking at you. You never cared about the class photos, but when Makoto said he was going to take one, you made sure you were facing the camera. And then Junko Enoshima, the ultimate despair, flashed a smile. A pure, sweet smile. On the monitor, she looked like a normal high school girl teasing her older sister. And yet, Mukuro could feel despair and anxiety encasing themselves around her. I always thought you should have tried hard to take pictures with Makoto, but I guess that's what makes you so disappointing. Still, even though you're disappointing and annoying, I still love you. Mukuro trembled upon hearing those words. I love you. That's all she ever wanted to hear her sister say. Mukuro believed. No matter what Junko said, she believed she really loved her. She believed she was the only one who could truly understand the despair known as Junko Enoshima. She was naive. As soon as she heard Junko say, I love you, Mukuro realised she never completely understood her sister. It was only at this moment that Mukuro finally understood her sister's feelings. Junko's words right now were kind. Perhaps that kindness was completely honest. The words, I love you, might have been true as well. However, for Junko Enoshima, this was her way of saying goodbye. She was severing the ties between them. It was painfully clear to Mukuro. And then, before she could even say anything, the girl in the monitor made a remark that cut Mukuro to the bone. I'm sure someday you'll make your dreams come true. Ultimate despairs never talk to each other like this. The simple truth stabbed into Mukuro's heart. Junko had no further use for her. Her own sister was parting ways with her. Mukuro had dedicated over 10 years of her life to the cause of ultimate despair, and at this moment it all counted for nothing. Well, those years no longer mattered to Mukuro. Her sister's rejection was more than enough to send her into the depths of despair. That's why Mukuro, even now, clung to a small sliver of hope. Meanwhile, Junko was still on the monitor. Yeah, right, did you really think I'd say something that nice? You're so annoying. Can't you just hurry up and disappear already? Mukuro hoped Junko would say something like that. She hoped that she'd start verbally abusing her again, or call her useless and incompetent. God, this is a big scene, this is. Mukuro was no masochist, but she'd prefer to be showered with bullets and contempt than endure this kind of emotional pain. But I love you, Mukuro. Bye-bye. The monitor went black, leaving Mukuro to process the horrible goodbye she'd just received. And as if on cue, Monokuma started moving again. Isn't family love so nice? By the way, did you know that in about half of all murder cases, the killer is a family member? Monokuma spoke in his usual tone of voice, but it was unclear if his words were getting through to Mukuro. Mukuro let the blood pack in her hand fall to the floor and tightened her grip on the iron bar she was still holding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Junko, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. She mumbled quietly as if she were chanting a spell and walked past the blood pack on the floor to Makoto's bedside with the iron bar in her hands. I'll do it properly. I'll make sure I do it. So... Oh, said Monokuma, perking up. What are you going to properly do to Makoto with that big thick rod you got there? Are you going to do him? Or are you going to do him in? Either way, I'm starting to feel some heart-throbbing excitement. Mukuro looked like she'd been completely broken. Monokuma walked closer to her with eager anticipation. Suddenly, Monokuma's body silently floated into the air. Does he have levitation powers now? With no expression on his face, Monokuma tried to see what had just happened to him. In the blink of an eye, an iron bar... Oh, right. Mukuro's done this. Hasn't she? An iron bar ripped through his body. The tip of the bar, which had been cut diagonally earlier into a sharp point, went straight through Monokuma and stabbed into a surveillance camera. The lens was completely destroyed and the camera shot out sparks as it broke down. The iron bar was still stabbed into the surveillance camera as Monokuma dangled from the other end. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but only static came out. A few seconds later, his functions came to a complete stop. Without making a sound at all, Mukuro had kicked Monokuma into the air. As soon as Monokuma's power source and his bomb circuit had perfectly aligned with the surveillance camera in the nurse's office, Mukuro plunged the iron bar into all three of them. No normal human has the skill to utilise such a technique, not even an ultimate. All the hesitation within Mukuro had vanished. Her eyes sparkled like a panther stalking its prey at night. A tense aura surrounded Mukuro, even more so than when she fought Sakura earlier. Ignoring Monokuma's lifeless form, she looked at Makoto as he breathed softly, and remembered her sister's parting words. So this is despair, she mumbled to herself. I'm so sorry, Junko. I never really understood what despair was. She spoke without emotion, like a machine. But it's going to be alright now. I finally understand. Hidden within her, passions began to stir. So, I'll make sure I make you happy, Junko. I'll make sure I fill you with despair. I'll save Makoto. I'll make sure the others don't die. I'll let them escape from this place. I'll deal with the people on the outside too. You invested so much time and killed so many people for the sake of this plan, and I'll destroy every last remnant of it, for you. This was not an act of vengeance towards the sister who had abandoned her. This was an act of mercy. Stuck between the ultimate despair and the hope she gained from Makoto, Mukuro was being refined into something that was unlike despair or hope, and she had no way of knowing where her path would lead. Okay. Whew. I think that's another kind of mini chapter sort of thing down. So tell you what, we're going to wrap this episode up here. Wow. There's a lot of text, it's a lot of reading, and as I've said before, I really wish there were actually, you know, character sprites here, and it actually showed us what was going on. I wish there were actual CGs for things here, because obviously it's not very dynamic without, you know, it's not very dynamic. I mean, it's interesting enough, and I'll keep going, though. So yeah, I hope you'll join me for episode 58, where I'll continue on. We'll see what's cracking next. So if you're not doing so already, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Links down below, as usual, along with a link to my propagandist channel. So if you want to check that out, you can do. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, comment below, subscribe to my channel, share my videos with your friends on social media. But in the meantime, I'm signing off now. Goodbye, everybody. I should be able to... Actually, I shouldn't. No. I need to move it elsewhere, don't I? This way. Come on, round here. Oh. Hey, what are you doing over there? Seriously, come over here. Right, so if I shove it right there. There, come on. Give me the key. Give me the key. it. Give me the fucking key. Why can't I get the key? Come here. Okay, I knew you were gonna fucking do something. Oh shit. Shit. What are you doing? Run!